Welcome to the Airline Pilot Podcast. I'm Jason Ambrosi. For this episode, we're flipping the script a little bit, and I'm going to be interviewed by First Officer Quincy Flemming, a National Strategic Planning Committee member from United, about how ALPA is working to support pilots facing furloughs and career uncertainty.
Thank you for joining us. I am First Officer Quincy Flemming with United Airlines, and I also am on the National Strategic Planning Committee, and I'm also a double furloughee. As we all know, unfortunately, our industry can be cyclic. The good news is, even though it's been a while, ALPA has learned lessons from the past, and we are ready to support our members now. Every furlough cycle is a little different. Some come about from some sort of catastrophic event, others are more of a slow slide. It really depends on the current state of the aviation industry and larger economic forces. The good news is we are in a better position today than we were back then, both as a union and as an industry. We do have pilot groups that are struggling, but we have others that are doing well. To talk about our stronger approach to furlough support and the resources available to ALPA pilots, I'm joined today by ALPA President and former furloughee himself, Captain Jason Ambrosi. Jason, thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here. This is an important subject, and I'm glad we're covering it. Thanks to you and the whole team for bringing this out and trying to make these resources better than ever.
Appreciate that, thanks. It's a passion project, definitely. You were furloughed early in your career. Can you tell me a little bit about what that was like for you?
Yeah, sure. I got hired at Delta over 25 years ago, and it was all blue skies and rainbows, and everybody thought it was nowhere but up. And then 9/11 happened, obviously. Ended up getting furloughed in 2003, and it was a gut punch, right? It wasn't unexpected because of 9/11, but we had gotten to a point where Delta stopped furloughing, so then you got that from the lows to the highs of, oh, I missed the cut, to suddenly, oh, by the way, I got 4 days notice and it was out on the street. So it was bad. Quite frankly, it was, you get disappointed, you get disgruntled, right? You're like, okay, I do appreciate the fact that the generosity of the Delta pilots to pay our COBRA benefits. But other than that, at that point, I was mad at the company, I was mad at ALPA, because it didn't feel like much more. There were senior guys that had never had a bad day in their career saying, yeah, furloughs are a course of business, kid. And you're like, what? You've never had a bad day, Mr. 777 Captain, and you're going to say that about our fellow members and us? It kind of left a bad taste in the mouth. So I think it's important now that we make sure that we're there with every resource we can to support our pilots in need. Because like you said, we have a lot of carriers that are doing pretty well right now, but with 42 airlines, it can't be everybody, and we really need to be there for the members that are struggling.
Yeah, I agree. And my experience was almost to a T the same right after 9/11, though I was gone. But I just remember hearing that same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you talked a little bit about how you felt about your ALPA experience. Do you have anything else to add to that? And I felt the same way. I was mad at everybody.
Yeah, it was kind of, oh, well, it's 9/11, it's course of business, and all that, and you felt left behind.
Yeah, left out.
And there wasn't a whole lot there. Look, we had some good people that we had furlough resources. We had a furlough coordinator at the Delta MEC who did a good job, but just that general feeling. Not so much the furlough coordinator and some of the other people, just that general feeling of it's like, yeah, I got mine, pull up the ladder, you know. Yeah. We had to, at that point, it was kind of like, protect the pay rates, protect the pay rates. It's like, you're not protecting the pay rates.
Right.
The airline's losing millions of dollars. It's not, at some point they're coming. And protect the pay rates, and then obviously we lost 50%, lost our pensions, everything, just the same story you had.
Same.
And furlough and all that. It took time, right? And now, look, we're a different group. We feel differently. We're very member-driven. We're more union-oriented, setting our organization up for the next generation. And I think it's important that this is part of it, revamping what we do for our members in need.
And can you talk a little bit about the current state of furloughs at ALPA?
Yeah, and check my math, but right now I think it's 383 pilots we have on furlough in the association. And compared to our size, that may not seem a lot, but if you're one of those 383 pilots, it means everything. It's important that we, like I said, we make sure that we're there for each one of those folks.
So now, just thinking about the resources, and this is something that we've been working on really hard lately, but can you talk a little bit about what some of the resources are and some of the things we're trying to do for the furloughees?
Yeah, the first step is the resources we have available on the ALPA website. We're rebuilding that, we're rebranding it, making sure that there's more tools there. Historically, we've offered some help on job interview stuff and different things. We're really going beyond that now. We're trying to make sure that we help these pilots find a place. making sure they have the resources they need on who to call to talk about it. It's more than just finding another job. It's dealing with the loss of your job. Yeah, pilot peer support, talking through what does this mean to me? What is this situation? Talk to somebody that's been through it before, like you, like me, and some of the folks that have been furloughed.
As a follow-on, what would you tell, if you go back in time and tell young Jason something that you know now that you didn't know then, that maybe would have made your journey
2003?
easier? Yeah.
I know something that would make that journey easier, buying a lot of Apple stock at that point. But back to this, I would say that reach out, be in touch, use the resources available to you, and don't hesitate to call. We didn't have the robust pilot peer support program we have now. So call anything, pilots, talking to pilots,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes when you talk to friends that aren't in the industry, friends that, or even professional help that's doesn't know the industry, they have the tendency of, oh, just go get another job.
Right.
This isn't Home Depot, this isn't Lowe's, it's not just go get another job. So talking to people that know what it's like, that have been there, fellow aviators, that's an essential piece, is using that pilot peer support program and taking care of yourself. Don't, if you feel like you're getting in a bad place, reach out, talk to these folks, because that's an essential resource that goes way above just trying to help you find another job.
Accepting help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
You're right, admitting that you need the help.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing that is important, I think, to me and probably a lot of us in the association is we have this spirit of collaboration and working together, even just airline to airline, but also within the association. Can you talk about some of the things that have happened recently to help Furloughed?
Yeah, hiring symposiums is a good one. The Delta MEC partnered with National to hold hiring symposiums specifically for the Spirit pilots and other pilots in need. And my understanding is they've been very successful and very helpful for those pilots. And I thank them, and I know certain carriers like United have language in their contract to help folks that are on furlough. All of it, all of the above, right? Everybody that can lend a hand and try to find a landing place and help for those folks in need.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've talked about in trying to design this program and developing the resources, one of the things that I know is important to me is two-way communication and getting lots of feedback. So do you see this program staying the same, or?
Look, everything should evolve. We're different than we were 25 years ago. We have our members intake information in a different manner. We have different needs. We should never stay in place. We should constantly be moving forward to develop better resources. Again, your team, Sean, and everybody involved in making sure that we're not standing in place, that we're constantly trying to improve the product for these folks is essential. Look, I'm not going to stand for just, okay, this is how we used to do it, so this is how we're always going to do it. That's not the way we are, and our team is doing a great job, not just with this, but in any other area, to get this organization set up for the next generation, and furlough resources is a big part of that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can tailor it based on what people ask us for. So we're hoping for a lot of feedback, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Nobody knows more than those folks in the situation what they exactly need.
Even though you and I both were furloughed, we don't know what it feels like right now in this environment.
Yeah, when we were furloughed, the cell phone was new.
Right.
There was no Twitter, there was no any of that stuff. So you actually had to call somebody on the phone, and there were still VHS tapes. It's so different. So while we can empathize because we had been in that position, it's different because of the fact that just things are different in this day and age. So again, I urge them to use the resources we have available.
I already asked you this, but just to elaborate a little bit, just in general, and especially with respect to current events, current times, what advice would you give a furloughed pilot today?
Yeah, it's a two-way street. Make sure you stay engaged. We're going to have a lot of information for you. You'll have it from your MEC, you'll have it from the team here at National, but we need you to be engaged with us to tell us what specifically you need. We need you to reach out to pilot peer support and talk to somebody if you need it. We need people to be there and interact, right? It is a two-way street. We definitely need to make sure that we're together.
Absolutely, totally agree. And I would add on, make sure you know your contract and know your recall rights, because I've seen a few not so happy outcomes with respect to that. So you have to stay engaged and make sure they have your information. Everyone has your information. How to get a hold of you.
Yeah, once you get past that first part of what do I do while I'm furloughed, then you get your footing about you. Then it's time to think about, all right, those things.
Yes.
What's my contractual rights? Keep an eye on everything that related to your job, your industry, and everything else. But first and foremost, when you take that initial punch in the gut about losing that position, please reach out. Please reach out to our Furlough support network, reach out to our pilot peer support folks, because we're there for you. We didn't have a lot of that when we were. There was nobody to call, really, that would be trained professionals like our pilot peer support folks are. And that would have been good, because we had a lot of tragedies at both of our airlines at that time, from folks that had a hard time dealing with the loss of their dream
Absolutely.
job. And we don't want that happening this time. We want to make sure that these folks get the support they need.
I feel like, especially for a pilot that gets furloughed, this is something that you didn't do wrong. You did nothing. In fact, you've done everything right. You've passed your check rides. You've gone through your career. You've progressed. You've got this job that you wanted to get. You interviewed. And then for no reason, not due to your own misconduct, you lose that job. And I think it can be a real hit to your identity, your core. And I guess what I would take out of my multiple furloughs was that you're more resilient. You have more resources, and now, hopefully, you have more real support, which I think was missing for us. And I just want to leave everybody with that.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, do not feel like it's you, like you said, for bad management decisions. It could be anything, because look, we had 9/11, but that was exacerbated by bad management decisions, at least at my airline.
Same.
While it stinks, it really sucks to get furloughed. Don't feel like you're the one that has anything to do with it. There's somebody else. You're not accountable for that. It's somebody else's. Traditionally, it's a bad decision that leads to something like that. So,
out of your control.
Yes, correct. And we're here to help you deal with that situation.
What I want to say is thank you, because when I came to, I think probably it was Windy first, I just was feeling so frustrated about having furloughs after so long. I really think it's wonderful, and it shows the health of the association that a member was able to come with an idea, and there was value seen in it, and you've given us resources to try and fix something that we've identified as potentially a problem. Just in closing, I would like to say thank you on a personal level, because this is very important for all of us, I think.
Look, we're a pilot-driven, staff-supported organization. Pilot ideas are what makes this organization good, whether it's passing a resolution at your local council meeting and going through your MEC, or coming to us with an idea. That's the point. Nobody has a lock on good ideas. Nobody has a patent on saying, I have all the answers.
Right.
No, if you do, then you shouldn't be in these positions, right? The fact is that you can't. Thank you to the whole team, to PDG folks, Sean. There's just so many people that are part of all this. Again, thanks for this, and let's make sure, I'm tasking you guys to make sure that these pilots get the resources they need.
We're working on it. We're working a lot.
Well done.
I just would like to say in closing that if you're furloughed, make sure you're signed up to receive your communications, both with your MEC and on the national level, about furlough resources. We share information to our pilots in every way we can, whatever it is that you like to do. We have text, email. We're hoping for some webinars, maybe town halls, podcasts, videos, everything that we can to get the information out to you. And we do have good information for you. That's something that we're working on, having real time and real good information. As Jason said, please don't hesitate to reach out to ALPA or use the resources available to you through your union.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Airline Pilot Podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you enjoyed this episode or know someone who would benefit from hearing about these resources, share it with your fellow crew members. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to podcast@alpa.org. To listen and subscribe to the Airline Pilot Podcast or learn more about ALPA, find us on all major podcast platforms or check us out online at alpa.org. Until next time, this is the Airline Pilot Podcast, production copyright ALPA 2025. All rights reserved. Thank you and have a safe flight.